In this lesson, we're going to take our first look at variance analysis, starting with revenue variances. Actual revenues can vary from the budgeted revenues because of differences attributable to price and differences attributable to volume. The price variance measures the portion attributable to price, while the volume variance measures the portion attributable to quantity. Variance analysis is a type of benchmarking in which actual outcomes are compared against expected outcomes. We use two types of budgets to benchmark results. A static benchmark, where the level of activity does not vary with the actual level of activity, and a flexible benchmark, where the level of activity is allowed to change with the actual level of activity. Here's an example of comparing a budget with an actual. The budget was to sell 6,000 cookies at $2.50 per cookie, or $15,000 in total revenues. What actually happened was that 6,150 cookies were sold at $2.45 per cookie, resulting in revenues of $15,068. The objective is to take the delta between the actual and the budget, $68, and see if there's any way of getting additional insight by looking at the separate components of price and quantity. I'm starting with the price variance. So we take the actual price, subtract the budgeted price, and calculate a delta of minus 5 cents. We then multiply that by the actual quantity, 6,150, and we see the price variance is a negative $307.50. This means that the revenues would have been higher by $307.50 had the company been able to sell its cookies at the budgeted price of $2.50. Next, we're going to calculate the volume variance. We take the actual quantity, 6,150, subtract the budgeted quantity, 6,000, calculate a delta of 150 cookies. Multiply that by the budgeted price per cookie of $2.50, and we get a volume variance of $375. The purpose of the volume variance is to isolate the impact of the change in quantity while holding the price constant at the budgeted amount. And we can see the answer is we had an increase in revenues of $375 due to the change in quantities. This template shows a way of calculating the variances that some people find more convenient. We start with an actual column, which is actual quantity times the actual price. We start with an actual column, which is actual quantity times the actual price. Then an intermediate column, where we take the actual quantity times the budgeted price. And then finally, the budget column, where we have the budgeted quantity times the budgeted price. To calculate the variances, we take the intermediate column from the actual, and that gives us the price variance. To calculate the volume variance, subtract the budget from the intermediate. Notice that a favorable variance is a positive amount, and an unfavorable variance is a negative amount. Favorable or unfavorable is relative to the impact on income. Another way of looking at this is that the budgeted revenue equals the budgeted quantity times the budgeted price, and therefore the revenue is just the area shown in the red box. We can now add the actual revenue as the actual quantity, 6,150, times the actual price, $2.45. You can see the two dots. The darker blue dot represents the coordinates, price and quantity, for the budgeted revenue, and the lighter blue dot represents the coordinates, price and quantity, for the actual revenue. The total budget variance is the actual revenue minus the budgeted revenue, and that is shown by the red square on the graph. The price variance is shown by the box with the red outline, and the volume variance by the box with the light brown outline. Price variance is the actual quantity times the difference in the price, 2.45 minus 2.5. The volume variance is the budgeted price, 2.5, times the difference between the actual quantity, 6,150, minus the budgeted quantity, 6,000. If you add the price variance plus the volume variance, you get the total budget variance. Since the price variance is negative, that means the impact of price reduced income. Since the volume variance was positive, that means the effect of quantities increased income, and the budget variance tells us the net of the two. The benefit of this approach is that in some circumstances, the cause of the price variance can be quite different than the cause of the volume variance.